after.
All right, one more for bowl eligibility, folks. Got to get to 6 and taking on a team that has no tangible incentive. So Huskers got to break that string of losing all those one-score games and Iowa winning all the one-score games. So we got some trends that need to be broken for the Huskers to reach postseason play for the first time in seven years. All right, Huskers Live right here at the Voice of College Football. Greg Peterson right below me. Husker Online. Of course, Greg has held it down for us for 147 shows. Justin Adams, post-game host here at the Voice of College Football. Appreciate Justin being here. And, of course, Cheesy Corn Sports is Justin's spot right here on YouTube as well. And Justin will take all your calls and questions after the ball game against Iowa. Guys, how we doing today?
Doing good.
Yep, doing great, man. Ready to hopefully not squander another one-score game in route to not getting bowl eligible. So hopefully we can buck that trend.
Pray to the gods.
Yeah.
Well, I kind of alluded to it off the top. When I make my prediction for this game, I'm not going to overanalyze it.
It'll be a one-score game, I guarantee you.
Yeah.
Yes, Iowa wins one-score games and Nebraska loses one-score games. And until I see different, I'm expecting Nebraska to make mistakes that are going to lose the game and Iowa to take advantage of those mistakes and not make mistakes. But we'll see.
We are too. Trust that's a fair assessment there.
That said,
I just want it all over with.
You want it all over with?
Yeah, I mean, one more game to go out there and freeze my butt off and call it good.
Man, I'm trying to have another game on the schedule. Let's go. Let's keep it rolling.
Yes, you want to get to a bowl game.
Yes, absolutely.
Hey, don't forget about them 5 and 7 teams that are eligible.
Yeah, I'm not trying to get in on no grades again.
Just saying.
I'm not trying to get on no grades again like that one year.
Well, Greg, basically, if you break it down this way, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
There aren't any other games. So it's not like they're winning to keep playing more games in Lincoln. So
obviously, Mark, I don't think Nebraska is going to win on Friday. So that's kind of where my standpoint is.
Well, they're a 2-point favorite.
Realistic. Yeah, I know.
They're a 2-point favorite. I got to say, I don't understand that. Not that I think that they should be some huge underdog because Iowa doesn't beat anyone by many points. But I would think Iowa would be maybe a slight favorite.
I was going to whoop Nebraska's butt on special teams. Mark my words.
Neutral field, Iowa would be a favorite. But even still, even it being at home, I'm surprised that Nebraska's the favorite. To be completely honest.
Completely shocked by it.
Yeah. Yep. Also, I don't remember the last time we were favorited against a top 25 opponent either. So,
yeah. And they want their trophy back.
Yeah. A lot. Well, I mean, we can pretty much throw everything out the window when Nebraska and Iowa play, though, because that game, no matter what, it always takes on its own little game script, no matter how good or bad either team is. But in this one, where it's expected to be close, I'm expecting just straight chaos, especially in cold. Yeah, it's gonna be wild, and probably not in a good way.
And actually, we had this morning I did not see the email about the press conference that came out last night because I was freezing my butt off out in Memorial Stadium for the Class A state final game, and they moved up practice this morning. So I woke up at 8:35 to find out that I needed to be down there at 9:15. So
nice.
Yeah, it was a nice little turnaround there.
Nice.
But my point was though that we did find out that, obviously Husker fans were watching late in that game. Nebraska, Nick Henrich went out, and also Anthony Grant went out, and Nick Henrich unfortunately retore his ACL, so he's done. And Anthony Grant, it's an ankle issue, and he's trying to get ready to go, but we'll see. That'll be a game time decision. So, another couple of key players for Nebraska go down, so that doesn't help much.
Yep, add it to the list.
Well, the one thing Nebraska's got going for it, if this was another team that they were playing, I would say that there's some level of incentive that could be questioned because Iowa wrapped up the West last week. They don't have to win. There was even talk in certain places that should Iowa rest players, try to avoid injury, get healthy for the Big Ten championship game, all of that. But this is Iowa. I don't expect them. No, they're
No.
No, this is, I mean, how many years have people asked, do you think this is a rivalry? It is a rivalry now.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think it is too.
It's completely turned into a rivalry. And, you have a brand new coaching staff here. And I've never seen an incoming coaching staff embrace the rivalry like this one has.
Yeah.
And, it really kind of sparks the locker room in the same kind of way. So,
Yep.
I mean, obviously, Iowa is not going to rest starters because why would you play in Nebraska in the first place? And no, both teams want to come away with that win. And obviously, like I said earlier, there's still a bad taste left in Iowa's mouth from last season. So, yeah, it's not like you're going to take an extra week to prepare for Ohio State or Michigan.
Yeah.
And not think about Nebraska.
Yeah, I don't. I definitely don't think there's any chance they rest them. But the built-in reason that Nebraska has a chance is if maybe Iowa, which I don't necessarily expect, but if Iowa, fresh off of kind of sealing up the Big Ten West, they can afford to kind of, take this game a little bit lighter and look ahead. But I think they're going to be ready to play. And to your point about it being a rivalry, I think it's a little bit more of a respectful rivalry. It seems like Matt Rule's pretty complimentary of Kirk Ferentz's staff and vice versa.
I mean, both Kirk Ferentz and Bryant Ferentz, he has the utmost respect for. So,
which is way different than the whole Frost.
That's what you see with Coach Rule. He respects all other coaches, and you never hear him saying anything derogatory or demeaning on any other coach.
No, but yeah. So I think
it's the profession.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't think they'll rest anybody, but I do think they have that built-in, especially with all the injuries. I just think they have that built-in thing there where they could potentially take the game off. But like I said, for this game, everybody's getting up for this game. I feel like.
Yeah, and it's senior day as well. Yeah. So that adds another element there when you got 24 to 28 guys, I mean, scholarship guys and walk-ons that are going to walk on Friday morning.
Yep.
But yesterday the big news was Ty Robinson announced he's coming back for another year, 6 years. So
huge.
That's big. You're going to keep that defense intact, that defensive line intact again, which has been dominant. So, I mean, that has to boost the locker room right there. And I'm hearing too that Turner Corcoran's going to come back again as well. So, those are two guys that Coach Rule has pegged as surefire NFL guys that you're going to get back again for another year, just because they bought in so much to Coach Rule's, way of doing things.
They had NFL guys in there, scouting, looking at him and talking to him and stuff like that. So that's massive because again, he has every bit of potential to go there. So that's another testament to Rule too, that he's kind of, these guys see that the progress that they're making under him and are willing to forego to maybe get a little bit better and get their draft stock a little bit higher, as opposed to just jumping straight in there. So.
Ed Rogers' comment, 6-3 Iowa as a score prediction is reminding me that we found out from our betting guy, Steve Merrill, on Wager Talk. So everybody be looking out for that. We go through all the big college football games. When we looked at Iowa, Nebraska, he confirmed that the 26-point over-under is the lowest on record.
Yep, in college football history.
Surprised me. Does not surprise me at all.
Yeah, there was this.
I mean, even though you see a spark under Chuba Purdy, and he is going to be the starter again this week. Harburg's not healthy enough. It'll be just like last week. Harburg will be the emergency number 3 guy, and Sims will be the backup, and Chubba Purdy show. So at least you saw a little bit better ball control under Chubba Purdy. So maybe Nebraska's got a little bit of a chance to score. I don't know.
Yeah. Last week definitely wasn't Purdy's fault. That's for sure.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah, there's this BCF. It's a BCF Remu. I don't know how to pronounce it, but it's on Twitter, and he has these, these kind of algorithms he used to predict, certain scores for betting and stuff like that. And the Iowa-Nebraska game came out with a negative 1.2 to a negative 3.7 score. So point total minus 4.9 So
yeah, those numbers really draw that national audience on Friday afternoon, right?
For those who appreciate, defensive football, which is lost these days, they'll have a treat for sure.
I'll be watching. Greg gets paid to watch. Justin has to watch for us, of course, and wouldn't want to be anywhere else, I'm guessing. But I'll be watching.
Well, there's nothing else going on, right?
There are other football games. I'd rather watch this game.
Hey, it's a rivalry game. I mean, there is a lot on the line. Like a bowl game for Nebraska is huge. So, I mean, there's storylines there to be interested in. It's just one of those games that I feel most people might, just kind of have on in the background while they watch the main game, and just constantly peek over to see if the score ever changes at any point in the game.
Yeah, right. Oh, still 3-3 going into the fourth quarter. Beautiful.
Going in OT.
We got a ball game.
Yeah, that's absurdly low. The 26 and a half, and now it's, I thought you pull up, it's down to 25 and a half. That's absurd.
I just go back to that Michigan State game when they lost that. I was like, that was your chance to get bowl eligible.
Yeah.
Now we're doing this all the way down to the end and just teasing everybody. So
I fully expect us to come out and get on top early, though, just to get our hopes up.
God, that'd be beautiful.
Just to get our hopes up.
Yeah.
Like they do every week.
Yeah, let's see Chubba Purdy go on a 90-yard drive to start the game. That'd be beautiful.
Chubba looked excellent. That was the most frustrating thing, is how good he looked, and then just everything else that was uncharacteristic, like bad tackling. I think the biggest difference, we couldn't sack them behind the line. Every time that we had him, Mordecai, behind the line, he slipped away. And punting. I mean, if we lose the punting battle in this, which is not looking good, we're going to lose this game. It's going to be a battle of the punters.
Best punter in the country.
Yeah, he's amazing.
And Bushini kicked the 18-yarder.
Yeah, he's been nothing for weeks now.
Yep.
He's hurt them more than he's helped them for at least the last 4 games. And yeah, now, I mean, that yardage really makes a big difference.
Oh man!
Especially when you're going against a guy that is the master of sticking that thing down deep on you and making you drive the whole field. So
now the one thing I will say about that, Greg, is that yes, Torrey Taylor, the Iowa punter, he's consensus All-American. He's great, but since they lost Cooper DeJean, who's not only one of the best cornerbacks in the country, one of the best punt returners in the country, he was their gunner.
Yeah.
And in watching them play Illinois last week, Cooper DeJean, he's just one of these like natural athletes where he would track the ball in the air, catch it over his shoulder, let it hit, knew exactly where to stand to catch it and down it. Torrey Taylor had 2 perfect shots inside the 5, and their new gunners.
Yeah.
They were fast enough. They were down there, but they couldn't figure it out, and they kicked the ball in the end zone. So they've lost their ace in the hole to make those kind of plays.
That was where I noticed was one of the biggest impacts. I mean, Jamari Harris and Deshaun Lee did do a good job of filling in as much as you can fill in for DeJean, but I felt like it was most impactful right where you said, him being the gunner and getting down in coverage on those punts, just because when you do have a punter with a big leg like that, like you require some gunners that can get down there in coverage. So he doesn't outpunt the coverage team. So yeah, very good point there. That is a huge blow on special teams for them.
Yeah.
And
Matt Earl was asked about that as well. And, he kind of just went to saying that they have a lot of other guys that can do the same type of thing. obvious coach speak answer.
Yeah. Yeah. Iowa's done a good job, though, dealing with all the injuries they have, too, and still keeping it. Iowa operates really, really well within the structure that they are in. And they are not one player, away from being below Nebraska. It's that they have that team built in a certain way, that team's coached up in a certain way, and they seem to fill the void very, very well, and they don't get away from what they do. They, a little bit turnover prone this year, but they still find a way to win, and doing it with all these injuries, still find a way to pull it off at the end of games. It's impressive, especially as Nebraska fans knowing how difficult it is to pull off one-score wins.
And playing it against a team like Nebraska is right in their wheelhouse, a team that struggles to score. So you play right into their hands.
Yep. But on the good side, top 25 team at home, senior day with a chance to become bowl eligible. There's a lot for Nebraska to play for. And again, a lot of these young guys, they'll get up for an opportunity like this. So we'll see. There's got to be one game where it breaks this trend.
Something's got to happen.
Yep.
So for each of you, what is the most important aspect of winning this game? Is it number one, still having the opportunity to have a winning season? Is it number two, going to a bowl game? Is it number three, getting the 15 extra football practices? Is it number four, beating Iowa and winning a rivalry game?
It's the extra practices that are the key there. Because you got a very young team, and those practices are extra valuable for all the reps that they get, and because you're trying to build moving forward here. You see what Matt Rule's already done in a short amount of time, and with all those young guys out there that have got reps in games and that haven't, but are right there on the edge. I mean, he said the other day, he can't wait for us to see, and he rattled off, 4 or 5 freshmen that you haven't been able to see out there yet. So that's definitely the biggest, is that extra practice time.
Yeah. In the bowl game, it's a compound effect for the bowl game with the extra practice and stuff like that as well. But also, think about the ending of the season, the impact on recruiting. If you end the season here with a bad offensive performance on a loss to end the season, versus ending with a top 25 win, maybe coming out and pulling out one of these one-score games, and then you have some optimism, and then you're going into a bowl game, you have a chance to earn some momentum going into recruiting, and maybe put on some kind of a little bit of an offensive performance. So some skill position players, we'll be able to get those guys in the transfer portal. Maybe Chuba can show an arm and show that we can have some kind of pass offense. All that's going to be very important going to recruiting too. So yeah, the extra practices with these young guys, and on top of just the optics of winning this game and that momentum going into to recruiting is going to be, and transfer portal season is going to be huge.
As a recruiting guy, the class is pretty much filled.
Mm-hmm.
So you're already above the curve there. I mean, you're only looking at transfer portal at this point. So, I mean, the practice time is key for the guys that you have on the roster right now.
Yeah.
Obviously, morale going forward, definitely a win is what you need. And for the fan base, it would be going to a bowl game, obviously. So. Yeah.
Because I think, with these transfer portal guys, they're going to want to see some kind of offense for us to get, a good wide receiver or some skill position players, or, I feel like it's in our best interest to show something out there. I know a lot of the heat's been on Satterfield, but, at the end of the day, he's doing the best with what he's got, and he's thrown into a tough situation. So I think all of that, I think those three things are just going to be huge. But yeah, I to your point with the practices, I think that's the biggest thing for these, especially for all these freshmen we got.
I got a funny story to share, though. You guys have a second.
Go ahead.
So Nebraska, they always they go around to the Lincoln hospitals, on Thanksgiving, during Thanksgiving week, and go visit all the patients and stuff. And so they did it last night. And my colleague from KETV, Andrew Ozaki, was there last night, and he was with the quarterback and wide receiver group, and they were touring through the nursery in one of the hospitals, and the nurse had picked up a newborn baby and held it out, and she's like, "So who wants to hold it?" And Malachi Coleman just blurted out, "Well, don't give it to one of the quarterbacks."
Oh man.
Made me laugh for about 5 minutes straight.
Oh, were any of them in the room with him?
Oh, they all were, yeah.
Oh, okay, perfect.
Receivers and the quarterbacks.
Perfect. I love it. They got to hear it. Jeff Sims hopefully heard that one loud and clear.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's
send me that clip.
with Chuba, like I'm amazed that, even that one turnover happened at the very, very end of the game. So, a clean game overall. It's just everything else went awry. And I think that's what's the most frustrating part. And also the most difficult thing to peg going into this Iowa game is like, we clean these things up. And these things have been consistent and these things went awry. So, it's really hard to figure out going into this week what the heck we're going to get out there.
Did you guys find any issues with the way they approached or managed the Wisconsin game?
Well, obviously, Matt Rule went under a lot of scrutiny about the end of the game, the time management issues.
Yeah.
And, he took full responsibility for it. And, maybe he thinks maybe he should have called timeout there to give them another chance at the end zone. But it kind of harkened back to the week before, same kind of situation against Maryland, where they end up turning the ball over in the end zone instead of kicking the field goal, which probably would have ended the game. So, there has been a couple of issues lately, clock management wise. Yeah,
I think that was my biggest gripe going into it, outside of just the tackling. But I find it hard to get on the defense because they've played such a great year. They're going to have moments. But yeah, the time management there at the end of both the end of the game and the end of the half. And then just a little bit of I just felt like the play calling, from and not get on Satterfield at all, but just I feel like what's worked for this team is just the short intermediate pass game and then setting up the run or vice versa. And it just seems like we're wanting to pass the ball a little bit too deep in the mid to intermediate range down the field, but it's our receivers aren't getting separation. So I felt like Chuba a lot of times was just trying to get yards where he could, and there wasn't a lot of openings for him. So a little bit of putting him in a bad situation, but I think with another week, they can work a little bit more, maybe schematically with him and try to figure out something that works. But so far this season, that's what's worked the best. Especially in overtime, the play calling there, when we're on 3rd and 16, I think it was, and we're trying to get it all back in one throw, and then we're left in a 4th and 16. Chuba Purdy on the road, first start, bowl eligibility on the line. Just got to put him in better situations. So
way too many false starts last week.
Absolutely,
that was a killer.
Absolutely, yeah. Getting behind the change, and then all the lateral plays behind the line of scrimmage, those seem to come in inopportune times, but none of the things that we're swinging out wide are breaking. And we tried those 2 behind the line of scrimmage, that little reverse type of deal, and both of them went for losses. So it's just we need to just get the ball vertical and just get 2 or 3 yards, each run. Just try to get something, get forward, and stop putting ourselves in must-pass situations when we can't pass the ball.
I didn't realize that Chuba Purdy was this much of a running threat.
Oh, yeah, he's dual threat. Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's just more of a passer than pass first, then run, as opposed to the other guys who are just run and no passing, please.
We saw right after he first got here and got his first action, you could see he could run. So,
yep.
Yeah. He was highly ranked coming out of high school.
Yeah, he was. Was he a 4-star, right?
Yeah, he was a high 4-star.
Yeah. Yep. And was listed as a dual threat, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really. Out of Chandler, Arizona there.
Yeah, he flashed that speed. I think it was looked at the little whatever stats and info they do. It was dang near 20 miles an hour, which Harburg got clocked up to 22. So, I mean, that's crazy. But that's actually 22 is wild, but 20 is crazy. You know,
I think I'd probably clock in at about 2.
Yeah. I'd actually like to film that and see
On a good day.
See if we can check that for real.
Wind aided.
Yeah.
Yeah,
2.
absolutely.
2.0.
Yeah.
On an empty stomach.
Yeah. What's all this with the Iowa talking about playoff push here?
Iowa's talking about going to the playoffs.
No, just talking about like there's still a chance for play all you can, play all out, because there's a small opportunity for them to sneak in the college football playoff conversation.
Yeah, if they're
talking about
crashes all over the country, possibly.
I know. I'm just and
not with 2 losses.
They're talking more so about that missed whatever it was, fair catch, not fair catch thing too.
Yeah.
So.
I get it to a very small degree, but yeah, that if they win this game, they win the other game. How the committee
Never
look at
happen.
that 12-10 loss against Minnesota, in which they botched
it's in the rule
ball,
books. That has to be taken as normal. It's in the rule book. They just don't call it all the time. But
they're already overlooking Nebraska, and they're going to beat Ohio State or Michigan. Is that what they're saying?
I think that's probably was Nebraska's in their best interest to not win the Big Ten championship game, because I don't want to have to deal with either one of those 2 teams, and I don't think Iowa does either.
No, nobody in the West does.
So
just send Northwestern.
But
both of those teams took care of Penn State, not easily, but they soundly beat Penn State, and Penn State annihilated Iowa.
Yeah.
And there's all sorts of comparisons like that. Of course, Minnesota beat Iowa. They lost to Michigan by 42. They lost to Ohio State by 38.
Yeah,
every game's like that.
Yeah.
Iowa's not going to beat those guys 12-9. So, I mean, come on.
No.
Well, they're going to get a shot.
No, Nebraska's the master of the 12-9 win.
I do like the dynamic of Chuba, though. Just adding it adds a little bit of an exciting element to the offense that I think, maybe can throw this game on its head a little bit. Might be a little bit of wishful thinking for my part, but I do know that I believe Chuba is definitely the better quarterback of the 2, and defense is very similar statistically. Of course, I think Iowa's defense is better naturally, and Iowa doesn't really beat themselves with penalties a lot. So I think Chuba's just going to have to come out here and actually be able to just throw the ball. And we're going to have to break a couple of big plays to have a shot in this one. I'm just this game is. I actually was more worried about the Wisconsin game than I am this one, but this game still, and that's the only reason is because I know Iowa legitimately can't score either. But yeah, I think Purdy will be the X factor in this game, and if I do predict a win eventually, I think it's because they're not going to be anticipating Chuba's arm, and I think he'll have a good day passing, even though the weather is going to be, not good.
That's what I was, last Saturday afternoon, I was chuckling watching Iowa, and then all of a sudden they scored like crazy at the end of the game to win. So,
man, I was going to say that hurt a little bit, but it hurt a little less when we ended up losing. So I was like, there's our door to the Big Ten championship game. And then we ended up not taking care of business. Like, if they would have lost, we would have had an opportunity. But since they won, it almost –
life is like, don't we want Iowa to lose? I'm like, no, we want them to win. Like, why? I go, because we have a better chance to beat them if they win here.
Exactly. And the Wisconsin loss would have hurt a lot more had they have lost, and this game was going to be for the Big Ten title. So,
yeah, it's just kind of uncanny that Iowa's played all these one-score games. But so that's one thing we can almost be certain of, is that Nebraska is going to be in the game.
Yep.
This game's not going to be 28-3 at halftime or anything. Iowa beat Northwestern by 3. They beat Illinois by 2. They beat Wisconsin by 9. They everything's a one-score win, and they're scoring under 15 points in these games. So it's still going to be a fourth quarter game.
I mean, yeah, that's the hard pill to swallow for somebody that has to be there for all of these one-score games that end up in the fourth quarter, and you end up losing them for the last 3 years, really. I mean, you just expect it now. You expect them to go down, maybe have the lead or be down by 3 late in the game, and then all of a sudden give it away. And I don't see why there's any other reason that's not going to happen again this year, unfortunately. But that's just kind of the way things have kind of fell in place, that you kind of expect it to happen now.
Yeah, it's been that. It's the expectation. It's like even when we're up 14-0, right? Like I'm still waiting for the wheels to fall off.
You're just waiting. Oh, here it comes.
Yeah.
I mean, as soon as one thing happens, you're like, oh, here we go.
When I'm following the Iowa game or watching the Iowa score, I'm expecting them to eventually score and seal it up. Basically, what they got that 30-yard run with like 6 minutes to go, and at that point, it was basically like, yeah, we know this is over. Yeah. And Illinois' offense, I mean, for what it's worth, has looked better than Nebraska's over the last few weeks with Paddock at QB, and they shut them down. So that is the big concern. The scary thing here is that I feel like Illinois has had a better offense than us over the last, like I said, since Altmaier's been out, and even they had a tough day at the office. So it's just Tristan Alvano. He's going to be huge. I think Tristan Alvano, of course, is got to be the X factor, because he's going to need to hit field goals consistently. And I mean, he's good. Like, we know he's got a leg, and he doesn't feel pressure, because he hit that 29 or 30-yarder to tie it. He missed the 49-yarder earlier in the game, but we're going to need him to really be consistent, because when points are hard to come by, you got to be able to take advantage of being on that side of the field.
He struggles earlier in the season, but yeah, he's really come through as of late. Can't really call him a freshman anymore.
Yeah, just waiting for him to find that pocket. It still feels like last game 1 for 2. Just, I don't know if he's been able to come in and make multiple field goals, like go 2 for 2 or 3 for 3. I don't know if he's done that yet this year. So, and I think he'll have to do that this game, no doubt.
Huskers Live, everyone. Here at the Voice of College Football, we come your way each and every week. Bit of a guessing game in recent weeks as to when we're going to show up. We typically do this on Tuesday night, but we'll decide here in the next few weeks after the college football playoff rankings reveal. That's all over with in about 2 weeks, where our landing spot is, but typically on Tuesday nights. And of course, we got a holiday this week. So here we are, Wednesday at 4 Eastern, 3 Central. Hope you were able to get here on time. If not, you can always go back and watch what you missed.
Mark.
Yeah.
I was going to ask, all right, from an unbiased perspective, what's your take on this?
Well, my take on this game is that you've got.
Said he's going to.
What?
He said he's going to be watching, so.
I'm going to be watching. It might be time for a nap around sometime in the third quarter. But anyway, I'm going to be watching. No, I've got to hold all this down. So I'm going to be watching, because I'm going to be watching other games, so I can't fall asleep. Here's my basic take, is that Nebraska's got a bad offense, but it's better than Iowa's.
Mm-hmm.
But Iowa doesn't turn the ball over. Nebraska does turn the ball over. So that kind of evens things out to a certain extent. Nebraska's got an extremely good defense. Iowa's defense is even better. And so when you put those two things together without really sorting through matchups, that makes for a dead even game. But as Greg was saying, Iowa's special teams
tips the edge there.
Is a big advantage for them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to have to see something that's going to change my mind to not pick Iowa to win this game.
Well, like we mentioned, I mean, Nebraska's probably going to be starting on their end of the field, deep in their own territory, most of their drives.
Yep. As has been the case.
Yeah. So much harder,
Yep. Yeah, as has been the case the last few weeks. It's I mean,
Right.
we've been losing this special teams battle and coming off of a game where literally if we would have just been neck and neck with them in the punt game, we probably don't lose that game. So coming off a game where special teams lost us the game in a way, and then into a game where we're facing great special teams, I agree there. That's going to be a tough uphill battle, especially because the difference in the Iowa offense and the Nebraska offense and Iowa defense and Nebraska defense, they can kind of cancel each other out in a, if you're just looking at a high level overview. So the special teams is going to be all the difference. And that's the unfortunate part for us.
Time of possession will be very interesting in my mind.
Yeah. But I do love Tristan Alvano. I don't want to get it twisted. He's a great kicker, great player, one of the probably the best talents we've had in a long time. So
wish he could punt.
I know, right? That's no crap. We have this thing about having a guy come out, whether he be a kicker or punter, having a great season, being all Big Ten, and then just like losing all of his ability the next year. I don't know where that happens, but
it's interesting with Buschini too. I mean, you wonder if he's even going to come back for his final year because Nebraska does have Sam Koch's son coming in,
right?
Who one of the best punters in NFL history. So
that's right.
So his son will be here punting next year.
Get some of that NIL money to the punters.
Yeah,
pay the punters.
Yep.
You guys probably know Nebraska's got the second worst turnover ratio in the country.
The second? I thought for sure we'd be first.
Minus 15.
Well, I'm impressed.
Temple is minus 20.
All right.
Well, 2 Matt Rule programs. Wow. How about that?
Temple. Yeah, no, I'm actually, I for one am shocked that it's second. I thought we would be dead last by a long shot. I know we're dead last in turnovers, unless that changed, but we were ahead by a long shot in turnovers per game. I think we were almost at 3 at one point. And Army was right behind us. We were at 2.8 and they were at 2.4 per game. So, which is insane. But all things considered, looking at that and then looking at where we're at, 5-5, well, 5-6. Dang it. Okay. You know what I mean? 5-6 with a chance for bowl eligibility still on the line. I mean, this team, I would not be surprised if they just use all of that juice to go out there and they pull this game off. That's the one thing I'm sitting here breaking down all these matchups in my head, but at the end of the day, this game never takes the trajectory we think it will. So, even when Logan Smothers was starting in this game and we had no shot, but Logan Smothers came out and gave us an early lead, and it took Iowa coming back late in the game. None of these games never play out the way they're supposed to. And I think that's what's going to add to such, that's why Mark's going to be watching stuff like that.
Well, it's a rivalry, like we talked about. So, I mean,
Yep.
it takes on a different meaning to everybody involved.
You don't think that these games play out the way they're supposed to?
Well, the
Hasn't
Nebraska
Iowa
game
been better and they've won it every year up until last year?
Well, what I'm saying is when Logan Smothers came out and just started against Iowa, nobody expected Nebraska to come out and get a 3-score lead in that game and then have to punt into the back of their up man to basically give Iowa momentum. We punted into the back of our up man there.
Yeah,
and
2 years ago.
So I'm talking about like stuff like that where these games, like for all intents and purposes, who thought Logan Smothers was going to come out and give us a 3-score game or a 3-score lead there, So it may take on the same ending. It may be a close 1-score game, but I'm talking about the way it plays out never goes to plan. And more so than any other game. I'm just tired of losing on last-second field goals to them. That's because that was what, two of the last 3 years? Yeah, that was rough. I just want to be able to celebrate in the trophy with the trophy in the crowd again. This time our crowd. I mean, this Nebraska's kind of, Nebraska's Super Bowl right here.
It's funny that trophy's been on campus for almost a year now, and nobody's ever seen it. It sits in the football offices, so coaches see it every morning when they walk in, but nobody else does. So
we were trying to make room for that Wisconsin trophy last week. Well, then maybe if we win this year, we can actually put it on display or something.
And then somebody was asking in the chat about bowl games in terms of bowl affiliations.
As far as which ones they'd potentially end up at?
Yeah, so the bottom tier of the Big Ten. So this is my theory on this. There's going to be a ton of teams that are going to be close. So let's say
Right.
Nebraska wins and they're 6-6.
Yes.
Wisconsin's 6-5 right now.
Yep.
Minnesota's 5-6. They're playing. So either you're going to have 7-5 and out, or you're going to have 2 6-6s. You've got Rutgers and Maryland. They're both playing. They're both 6-5. So you're going to have 7-5 and 6-6. Northwestern 6-5. They're playing Illinois, who's 5-6. So either they're both going to go 6-6 and be in the bowl running, or Northwestern's going to pull off the win, knock out Illinois, but they're going to be in at 7-5. So what I'm saying is, you got a glut of 6-6 and 7-5 teams, and if Nebraska is part of that, the thing that I think gives Nebraska the edge is if these bowl destinations have an opportunity to select, well, they're going to select Nebraska
because of the way they travel.
Way above, all those other, they're going to draw a bigger crowd on TV, and they're going to travel. So I would think that Wisconsin would be the only consideration anywhere close to Nebraska. But shoot, comparing Nebraska to Maryland, Northwestern, Illinois, Rutgers, all those teams, Maryland, they're gonna rank higher than those other teams. So it goes to the playoff, obviously. That's Ohio State, Michigan. And then the other one will get a New Year's 6 game. And then the Citrus Bowl is going to go to Iowa. And the Relia Quest Bowl would go to, that's where all that, I forgot about Penn State.
Yeah.
They'll get a Citrus Bowl or a New Year's 6 bowl. So anyway, it's going to start with the Duke's Mayo Bowl.
Yeah.
That's about where all those, and then it's just this mess of 6-6 teams from the Big Ten.
Dump some mayonnaise on Rule.
Yeah. So Greg can have some mayo and
hey, I love Duke's mayo. I use it at home here.
Awesome. So you can do your live hit from the Duke's Mayo Bowl and have somebody dump some mayo over your head.
That'd be fun.
I hate mayonnaise so much.
At least it's going to be a warm destination for you, Greg. You're looking for that, right?
Charlotte.
Okay.
Warm in December.
So that's what I would guess.
The mayonnaise bowl?
Well, I'm going to guess that they're going to get picked first out of all those teams.
Absolutely. I would agree. Just because, it's money.
Actually, I do have family in Charlotte, though. So
I was hoping they'd come out to Arizona somehow. There's a couple of there's a bowl game out here.
Plus, the Bahamas Bowl is getting played in Charlotte this year too. So how about that?
The Bahamas Bowl in Charlotte. Play the Bahamas.
Why are they doing that?
Their stadium's under construction.
Oh.
So the Bahamas Bowl, you don't get to go to the Bahamas this year.
So they don't have any other place to go.
No, you get to go to Charlotte right before the Duke's Mayo Bowl.
What is the Arizona Bowl? Which Big Ten team gets in that one?
Number 7, the Guaranteed Rate Bowl.
Where's that one? Is that in Phoenix?
Yeah, they play at the Arizona Diamondback Stadium, right?
Okay.
Yeah, Chase. I believe it's Chase. I'm just rooting for that one because I live here. So,
right.
But yeah, I think I do agree. I think it's going to go. I think just like before, it's going to go to them whenever it's in this situation, just because of the viewership, the fans traveling.
It's a more attractive team to bring to the bowl game.
That's all it's about right now. But,
I mean, that's this time of year, every year, almost regardless of the record, you see bowl representatives in the press box in Lincoln. So
Yep.
They're always on everybody's list, just to make money off of.
Just got to figure out how to beat Iowa.
Yeah.
So there are no sandwiches that you opt for the mayo, Justin.
I don't.
See, gotta have mayo on it.
Throwing it back to my grandparents, right? Growing up, I used to eat, and call me crazy, I had a piece of bread, and I slapped some mayonnaise on there. I put a slice of cheese on there, and I just eat that. And I got so burnt. from mayonnaise. I cannot eat it no more. So there's no mayonnaise getting near me. I don't care if we win the mayonnaise bowl. I'll put it over there, but I can't smell it. I can't touch it. Nope. Not, we can dump it on Greg's head. I'll go with that. I'll agree to that.
Does it make you puke?
Yeah, it just grosses me out.
Really?
I also have a phobia of trying new foods. So like I don't like a lot of things. I get like my heart rate went up to 116 beats per minute trying hummus for the first time.
Oh, come on. Hummus is good.
But yeah, mayonnaise bowl ain't for me. But I mean, I'll watch it, but come out there.
Adventurous. Try new things.
I'm
Do you like Cheez-Its?
Oh, I love Cheez-Its.
Oh, you love Cheez-Its?
Don't tell me there's mayonnaise and Cheez-Its. I'll go to the Cheez-It Bowl, though.
He's talking about the bowl game.
Yeah, I know.
Well, yeah, that's I was looking to see if there were any other food related bowl games for the Big Ten. That was the only one.
We started talking about food, Mark, when we came on here, and I haven't got off of food since.
No. And we needed football analysis out of you.
I don't want to go to the Cheez-It Bowl because I think the media gift would be Cheez-Its.
Yeah, I'm not a Cheez-It guy.
Yeah, I don't want to bring home a bunch of Cheez-Its in my...
Unless, of course, they're going to sponsor us.
This got off the rails because we're talking about Nebraska's offense. So that's what you can expect.
Yeah.
No, but all BS aside, though, Emmett Johnson, I do want to say this. Emmett Johnson has been playing out of his mind. So I mean, they got to go heavy Emmett Johnson. What do you have? 15 touches last week?
I believe so, yeah.
And, you know, Jalen Lloyd, another long touchdown. And then got to get Fleeks in space a little bit. I hope they do try to get him in space a little bit more. Just try to get some of these guys, get Billy Kemp in space a little bit too more. Just got to get something going after the catch right now, because that's been the biggest thing as far as getting the ball moving forward, is just getting these guys in space. Because I feel like even when we complete, it's tight windows and these guys are getting immediately brushed. So another X factor is going to be Emmett Johnson this week against Iowa's run defense. But it'll be interesting to see, because he's run the ball well against everybody so far this year.
All right, folks, we appreciate you being here at the Voice of College Football. This is our Nebraska show that we deliver each and every week. And we do have some Iowa folks here as well. You know that we do our Hawkeye show every Tuesday at 5:30 Eastern, 4:30 Central as well. And we will settle in on a time for our Huskers live show here in a few weeks. But subscribe to the channel, hit that bell for the notifications, and therefore you don't miss a live show. And for those of you joining us late, go back and watch what you missed. Have we missed anything with this matchup coming up here Friday?
Well, it'll be interesting to see if Tony White decides to take a head coaching job after it's over, which is he's got a couple opportunities with Syracuse and San Diego State. So we'll see how that all ends up.
One thing too, Nebraska got a crystal ball for Grant Brix, and it's seeming like the Oklahoma interest seemingly has dwindled for Grant Brix. So that would be a huge get for this offensive line, probably the crown jewel of this recruiting class. So that's something to monitor too for Husker fans. So Grant Brix watch is officially on fully.
It was on before the season.
Yeah. But I'm saying just this last week is when that last crystal ball flipped, and then they came out with the Oklahoma stuff saying that the interest in Oklahoma's kind of dwindled, and that last crystal ball went our way. So now it's up to 80% confidence on that for the Bricks to Nebraska. That
I just
about a few days ago. So
I put it off for so long. It's just ridiculous to me. Kept me from going to see him, because I wasn't going to go waste my time for a guy that wasn't going to commit. So,
yeah.
I mean, they put on the full court press on recruiting this kid, and I mean, pulled out all the stops, and
that'll be huge for Raiola.
Still hasn't made a decision yet.
I know. Yeah, it's been a while. But that would be a huge for Raiola too. And another thing about momentum going into the off season. So recruiting momentum is huge too.
90 minutes away from Lincoln. Come on, pull the trigger.
Right?
Stop leading everybody on.
He's dragging us along. That happens a lot these days, though, with this kid's recruiting. So, But if we land them, all will be forgiven.
3 weeks away from National Signing Day, everyone. And we will, of course, tackle that when the time comes, both leading into it and the next show after National Signing Day. And join Greg on Husker Online as they, of course, break down all the recruiting metrics and get you set there.
Kind of sad high school football is over now.
Okay.
As of last night. No, I'm just saying that.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, there was 5 future Huskers playing in the game last night. That was such an awesome 56-0 blowout. So
Good news, you're going to see a better game on Friday.
I hope so.
All right, Greg, stay warm on Friday.
Oh, that's going to be a tough chore.
Yeah. Take your vitamins, man.
Mm.
We're going to need you.
You know what? You know what I did last night though, I was trying as an experiment, is that obviously, you know, when you're running a camera, you can't have a heavy glove on your camera hand. And so I put Tiger Balm all over my hand last night, and it really helped keep my hand warm. Yeah. I mean, if people know Tiger Balm is what football players put on their arms when it's cold outside, when they're not wearing sleeves, to make them look like tough guys.
Luckily for me, I never played in cold weather, so I've only been in hot climates.
Yeah, you're lucky.
I know.
And everybody check out Cheesy Corn Sports right here on YouTube with Justin.
Yep.
Anything going on there this week?
Yeah, just our first Friday. We did our first Friday live stream last week. Went over some big NFL topics, CJ Stroud MVP stuff, the Joe Burrow injury, and then our Sundays 2 hours for the games, answering start-sit questions and stuff like that. So just the usual. And like I said, we fired up that first Friday show. So if y'all want to hop on there, if you're interested in fantasy football, go and slide on over there, subscribe, and join us.
All right, folks, I'm off to record a Clemson video, and then it's Florida State at 6, and it's Miami at 7 live. So catch me there for those breakdowns, and back up here next week after the Iowa game, and hopefully a bowl game to talk about, and not a long off season, but that's the hope. And in the meantime, Justin's got the post game for all of you right here after the ball game.
BYOG for that Clemson show.
Mark probably won't sleep between this live and the next live you see on the channel. So
Probably not.
Everybody go give him a like on his streams. Help him out a little bit.
At least he can have a little time to cook turkey tomorrow.
Yeah, we are taking tomorrow off, basically. Basically taking it off.
If Nebraska
might do a late live stream after Ole Miss and Mississippi State.
I just saw Kyle's about women's soccer. If Nebraska wins another basketball game, we're switching this over to a basketball channel.
Hey, I already heard people saying we're a soccer school now. Hey, you know what? Nebraska basketball 5-0 for the first time.
Basketball school
years too.
Okay, you guys can take that over.
It's too clean tonight at the Pinnacle Bank Arena.
You guys gonna make me some money on that? Go right to it.
Come on, support your Husker basketball players.
All right, happy Thanksgiving, everyone. We'll see you next week.
Lady up.
Thanksgiving, everybody.